All right, let's continue. Next up, we're going to be taking a look at another data consistency use case, customer 365 data in particular. So, in essence, we're gathering data from multiple systems and inserting or updating that to our data warehouse, data lake, Lakeview, whatever. So, what we have prepared for us in particular is actually we can notice that there is a draft left for us by one of our colleagues. And if we open up the draft, we can quickly take a look at the functionality of the overall solution. Again, we can see that we're using a similar timestamp based approach to retrieve all of the accounts from Salesforce, doing a little bit of deduplication in case there are duplicate accounts in Salesforce. And as Salesforce is acting as our master for our customer data, we are retrieving data from three separate systems: SAP ServiceNow and a customized usage service, and aggregating all of that into a single harmonious data object with validation. And finally, of course, simply inserting that to our Snowflake data warehouse. But what I really wanted to showcase in this particular case is that we can actually see that a colleague of ours, Antti Toivonen from the PMO office, has left us a to-do note here in our process in the form of a draft, asking for validation of the customer email, since apparently it seems like that duplicate customer or invalid customer emails are ending up in our data warehouse. And the way that we can do that is that we, of course, utilize our Frends toolkit here in the BPM editor. And the easiest way for us to achieve something trivial, such as, for example, email validation, is simply to plop in a C# code statement, which allows us to write arbitrary C# code. And let's name our step here, obviously, email validation. We'll say that we want to return validated email variable out from our code. And now is actually an excellent time for us to take advantage of our Frends assistant here, which is available for all the shapes in the Frends toolkit. And the way that we actually activate that is by clicking on the Frends Assistant button, which opens up the view for us to start asking questions and talking with the assistant to generate our code, do our task or connector configuration, or anything of the sort. The really cool thing about the Frends Assistant is that we are providing it with a lot of different context about the integration we are building, so that then it can intelligently understand what it's supposed to be doing. So as a practical example, we could ask it, can you validate the C underscore underscore email in accounts using regex and return true if the email is valid, false otherwise. We'll send that over to our AI assistant, and lo and behold, it generates a piece of code snippet for us, which we can, of course, give a little bit of a nice user sentiment that looks great. And we can choose to use it directly, which means it gets copied over to our C# statement here. And the cool thing about all of the Frends assistants is that they actually understand how to use the Frends low-code notation, as you can see with the low-code reference to the actual email in the account we are processing at each particular step. So, but now that we've done a change, or we've implemented a change, we also need to, of course, adjust the decision here, where we could say that, hey, in this case, I want to now check that the validated email we just calculated using code. So we'll say that if that's true, we'll continue with the email is valid path, and otherwise go down and save the email to an invalid account list that we are then using AI later down in the process to send a little bit of data fixing instructions to the owner of the data. But like I said, that now that we've actually implemented a change to our integration, we want to document that change. So that means that we can actually open up our documentation page here, and we need to actually update our documentation. So I'll go ahead and edit my documentation and use the Frends AI assistant here again to read all of the context around the integration flow, where the AI is able to actually provide me with a very nice, very detailed documentation, including all of the queries, all of the messages, and even the newly generated email validation code snippet we just created as part of the documentation. Still writing the error handling practices here, but all looks great. So I can actually choose to use that documentation. I'll save that documentation to be a permanent part of the process. And this means that the only step left is to actually save and compile the process. So I'll give a short change description here saying that I implemented the email validation requested and click Save Changes, which will actually automatically now compile and deploy the solution to our development environment. And the last step, of course, to get this into production would be to go and select the deploy process to agent group, where I can choose which environment and which agent I actually want to deploy my updated solution to. And in this case, I might just pick the cloud test environment, go ahead and click deploy and activate triggers. And just like that, with a single click of a button, we can see the update happening, and there it goes. Now it's running in test.